Hi all. Today we're going to talk about how to annotate a text. And annotation of a text can be of a nonfiction text or it can be fiction. It doesn't matter because all you're doing is you're closely reading a text. So we're using this annotation chart. There are tons of different charts out there. This is the one we'll use today. So the first thing that you want to do when you're reading a text, even before you read, well, first you're going to read the title and then any source information or any description of the text. And then you want to label the paragraphs, 1, 2, and 3. There are more paragraphs in this text, which is absolutely fine, but we're just going to look at the first 2-ish. Then you can look, as you're reading, you want to underline keywords or details, double underline the central idea. Every single solitary text you will ever read is going to have a theme, if it's fiction, or a central idea if it's nonfiction or real. As you read, circle unknown vocabulary so that you don't just skip over it, so that it's there for you, so that you can go back and better understand it, use context clues to understand the vocabulary. And then star any important information, anything that you read that you feel is extremely important to the article as a whole or the text as a whole. Any confusing information or any question you might have, put a question mark. Surprising information, put an exclamation point in the margin. Any notes or comments, just draw a box like this or just a speech bubble and just write your thoughts. If you agree or disagree, and generally this is going to be if the author is trying to make an opinion make you feel something, then you could put a check mark or an X if you disagree. And then any personal connection. This is super important because good readers always draw connections between themselves in a text or the real world in a text, anything that's going on for them or for the world. Putting a C in the margin to say that you've drawn a connection, that helps the reader to better understand what the text is all about because you have that connection. So with this text, this is a nonfiction text. We're going to read the title first because we need to know what the text is about. The Destruction of the Amazon Explained. So this title tells us that the article is going to explain to us probably how the Amazon is being destroyed. It's from September 1st, 2019, so it's recent. So it's very relevant to our lives right now. If it was 1946, obviously that's a long time ago, but I mean, it's still relevant, but not as relevant as a current text. Next, we're going to look at the headers because those tell us the key information that will be in each paragraph. So that kind of tells us probably the main idea of that paragraph. So first paragraph, it's numbered, so we know this is the first paragraph. It's all about what's happening. Tens of thousands of fires are burning across the vast Amazon basin. We could even circle this if you don't know what a basin is, consuming 4.6 million acres of irreplaceable rainforest since the beginning of the year. I not only circled irreplaceable because that's vocabulary that I might not necessarily know what that means. I could use context clues. And then I also put an exclamation point because not only is 4.6 million a large number, but when we're considering that it's in acres, 4.6 acres is a lot. So I just want to say that's really surprising information. I could put a star because it's probably very important. Thick black smoke visible from space wafts over the land, plunging Brazil's largest city, Sao Paulo, into daytime darkness and filling hospitals with patients in respiratory distress. I feel like this entire paragraph probably could use an exclamation point or a star. More than 36,000 of the 77,000 fires in the Amazon this year began in the last month alone. month. Okay. The Brazilian Space Agency, which monitors the blazes by satellite, says most of the damage is in the northwestern Brazilian states of Roraima, Acre, Rondônia, and Amazonas. Sorry, guys. Where more than double the usual amount of acreage is on fire. This is not natural. More than 90% of these fires have been set by loggers and ranchers seeking to clear land. With the encouragement of the Brazilian government, deforestation of the Amazon has surged to the highest level in a decade and is now galloping along at 3 football fields every minute. I put a thought bubble here, just as far as like a comment, my personal opinion, guys, or I could even put a C right here, because this is a personal connection, just making a statement about your own, you agree or disagree. Okay, I would put an X here as well. It's not great. It doesn't simply affect the Amazon. This is something that I know. Okay, I'm making a personal connection based on what I understand because the Amazon is so important to our world. Half of the clear cutting and burning has occurred in protected lands. Okay, I might put a star right here. This is important. Protected lands. Okay, it's happening in places that it shouldn't probably happen. So this next paragraph, I know that it's going to tell me why the Amazon is actually important. Okay, and I already know why it's important to the entire world. So probably I'm going to learn a little bit more about why it's important. Home to 3 million species of plants and animals, the vast rainforest is the most biodiverse. I circled that. What does biodiverse mean? Region on the planet. I also starred it because that's probably important information. It could even be a central idea in that paragraph. Some 400 billion trees absorb millions of tons of carbon dioxide every year, crucial to slowing climate change. Crucial to slowing climate change. So that's very important information. And emit about 6% of the Earth's oxygen. Okay, that's important information. It tells me why the Amazon is important to the rest of the world. These trees also respire. What does that word mean? Maybe circle that. Moisture, pulling fresh water from the ground and cycling it into the air, creating one of the atmospheric rivers, that's in quotes, maybe put a question mark if you don't know what that means, of moisture that regulate rainfall across the planet. Rainfall in the American Midwest, for example, heavily depends upon water coming from the Amazon. I double underlined that. I would imagine that's probably one, if not the biggest central idea in this paragraph, because it's telling me why the Amazon is important, but why it's important to the bigger picture, okay? Because the American Midwest is not where the Amazon is located, so it forms a bigger picture about why the Amazon is important, okay? I'm going to stop there. If you have any questions about annotating, generally it's done in the margins, but you can just write all over the page. It's just putting on the page your thinking as opposed to keeping it in your brain. You're putting it on the page.